Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the fans just haven't asked for it, they have demanded it.
This August, we're headed back to Tampa for Wrestle House 2.
WrestleMania weekend, we brought you Sinister Minister James Mitchell, TJP, Demolition Smash, Al Snow, Dutch Mantel Zeb Coulter, JTG of Primetime, and WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Briscoe for in-depth interviews and live interactive cyber autograph signings.
And if you want our Wednesday Night Wrestling Insider Special edition episodes to continue, we need your help to bring these superstars' careers and lives to life.
Bringing you free content 7 days each week is an expensive proposition. Between appearance fees, air travel, renting the house, the equipment, and everything that goes in to a week of shooting, we can't do it without you.
As we prepare to return to producing live in-ring events, help us bring you the superstars and legends of yesterday and tomorrow by visiting Indiegogo now and check out some of the great rewards.
Wrestling fans, it's going to be a wild week in Tampa the first week in August. Get ready for Wrestle House 2.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, you just sat through a hellacious 3-hour installment of WWE Monday Night Raw. They only have one more to go before the fans are back deep in the heart of Texas live at Raw. As always, trying to bring some common sense to the world of professional wrestling. It is your Monday night tradition. Men on a Mission Oscar, the former WWF Tag Team Championship manager's point of view on the world of wrestling here on the Monday Night Mission. As Raw comes to an end, we try and enlighten you podcast style, or maybe more in the not too distant future. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I am very happy to be joined by the Vice President of Boston Wrestling, MWF, the one, the only, the man on a mission himself, Oscar. That's quite an introduction for a man whose name is only 5 letters long.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm not doing good, Oscar. I'm still pissed off, just for different reasons this week. I don't know if you saw that link that I sent you.
Yeah, I saw it before you. I saw it when. I
you already know.
I ran into it a few days ago.
What do you think about what's going on? You know, let's just jump right into it before we get into the real news of professional wrestling. The tension and the headaches and the drama that have gone on in our world. To those that may not know what we're talking about, Marty Jannetty did what looked like almost one of those found footage movies podcast interview with a couple of guys in New York. They, as the 80s song goes, they wear their sunglasses at night. And you know what? They put out this, what I'll call an edited hit piece with a little clickbait title, Boston Wrestling, and, you know, taking advantage of poor Marty Jannetty and so on and so forth. And, you know, usually I'm the type, I don't care about things like that. People are going to say what they're going to say. They're going to do what they want to do. But, you know, the title of it kind of got me curious. So as I was here Saturday night, the night before the 4th of July, when everyone out was having fun, celebrating fireworks, barbecues, and so on and so forth, I said, I'm going to watch this thing. And I did. And I was so pissed off at what I watched it a second time, and every time there was a mistake or a note, or I thought that these two guys in their sunglasses at night were trying to lead Marty on, egg Marty on in some way, I jotted that down too, and I made a video response about it. I don't even know if Marty has seen it yet. The fans seemed to, I think it had 97% positive feedback, so the fans seem to resonate with what I was saying, at least. My problem is this. You know what? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That is fine. If people have an opinion about what went on that disastrous Father's Day with Marty, cool. But if they're going to deliberately put out false information and try and mislead people into thinking certain things. I do have a major problem with that because, I have kids. I don't want them to come across that, whether it be next week, next month, or 10 years from now, and say, geez, did you really take advantage of this guy, blah, blah, blah. No. So I decided to lay the Marty hammer down on the spot, so to speak. You know what? As I have stated many, many, many times, it was not a hit piece on Marty Jannetty what I did. I like Marty Jannetty an awful lot. I consider Marty Jannetty to be my friend. As you know, and as Marty knows, since June 20th, I have spent a great deal of time trying to line up help for him that he thus far has chosen not to accept. He's an adult. He made adult decisions. But, even on this podcast, I'm learning new things, Oscar. And it was edited, I want to note. So, and anyone can do anything with the magic of editing. But, Marty said on the Saturday when he was here, which was a taping day that went well, he was in pain. And that is something I'll always sympathize and resonate with due to my own physical issues. That's probably the reason why I haven't officially cut the cord on the Marty Jannetty experiment, because not only do I like Marty, but I understand that the man is in pain 24/7, not only from his body of wrestling work over the past 36, 37 years, but he's had 2 major reconstructive ankle surgeries this year, and he's not getting a heck of a lot of help for it. So the human being in me sympathizes and empathizes with Marty a great deal. I don't want to see that man hurt, and I don't want to see him in pain. But it was painted as if we were like Russian Gestapos forcing Marty through these taping sessions, when it was anything but. Anytime Marty wants to take a break, anytime he's here, we take a break. He can go freshen up in the restroom, he can have a drink, a bite to eat, whatever it is he wants to do, we do it. You've been with us enough times in the studio to know how we operate as far as that goes. What I never knew was that on Saturday night, after he got dropped off at the hotel by our good friend old CW, Marty had a female companion show up at the hotel with some kind of a substance. And then at that point, Marty forgot everything from, we probably dropped him off Saturday night around, 9, 10 o'clock, probably closer to 10 o'clock. So Marty said he remembered nothing until he came to the studio the next day. So whatever this woman brought to his room, whatever he took, drank, whatever it may have been, this substance, it knocked him out of reality, being able to remember his life for the better part of 16 hours. And then, like I said before, what showed up on Sunday was unusable. He continued to try to use that line that I tried to block the door so he couldn't come in. You know where my desk is here at the studio. I'm a good 50 feet away from the door. I can't block anyone from coming in, and as I've noted a million times, due to the cost and the expense of having someone like Marty in, we need to tape as much content with him as possible to make it financially feasible. So I certainly did not want him out, and even though there is no video security footage, the staff here that he ran off, due to his condition, where we had to spend 4 hours trying to sobering him up, they saw that I didn't block the door with him coming in. And we also taped in his horrible condition, where he said he was good to go. We taped a watch-along to his WrestleMania 5 match when the Rockers took on Akeem and Big Boss Man, the Twin Towers, at WrestleMania 5. And he could barely speak. So, if I blocked the door, how did he ever come in to tape that? Nonetheless, he also admitted on this podcast that when we took the break, after we sobered him up for 4 hours, we did tape a couple of episodes that were so-so. They weren't great, but at least he could speak, at least he could think, at least he could respond to the questions. And as we, with no technical help, I had to get everything ready for the live episodes. So as I was doing that, I got everything ready to rock and roll, press the magic buttons, and then Marty vanished again. Well, Marty, on this podcast, this found footage movie style podcast, where he was sitting inside of a car in the dark, which was just kind of a bizarre ambiance, if nothing else, he admitted to not only taking more pills, but drinking more before we went on the air, which led to the implosion, where I actually got angry on the air for the first time, and he threw out that accusation that was the straw that broke the camel's back on that day, that weekend, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it, where he said, "Oh, yeah, you just didn't want to tape with me and pay me my money, huh? So I tell you, again, to some this may be a repeat, to some it may be new news, but I went to the area where I stored his payday nice and safe, and I went back in that studio as quick as these dilapidated legs would carry me, and I threw that payday at him like a ninja star. I was so pissed off. And so, you know what? I didn't like the fact that these two men were trying to provoke Marty into trying to put me down and put the experience down. If anyone was taken advantage of, I'd have to say it was me and us at Boston Wrestling. Again, much like the Sunday in February when he showed up in very bad condition and then wound up angry at us because we taped episodes in that condition. Now, we didn't tape episodes this time, and we're still supposedly the bad guy. And I'm just sick of it. I don't know why these gentlemen in the sunglasses have such little to talk about on their program than what goes on here at Boston Wrestling. I know they tried to provoke Tony Atlas over the wintertime when he put up that ridiculous post that over the past 4 years, every time he's come to the studio, he's walked off with $55. And when I was alerted by the fans that Tony was doing that talk show, even though Tony still doesn't have the balls to speak to me for the money he stole, I did send him a text stating that if he said the wrong things on that podcast, the response was going to be one he was not going to like. And to Tony's credit, he was pretty reasonable on the podcast from what I'm told. But I just want peace, tranquility, and harmony, Oscar. It was a holiday weekend. I would have loved... Let's hear this, brother.
The best way to get peace, tranquility, and harmony
is to leave wrestling.
Well, that's a way to go. But when these things come up, no matter how they come up, no matter who they come up, your best course of action is to ignore it. Because all you doing is raising your blood pressure, and you giving them the satisfaction by basically putting them over.
Well, that's why I won't mention them by name.
Even when you talk about it, but you still doing it because
by saying they wear their sunglasses at night.
All the wrestling fans that know who did it and know who wears sunglasses and all that, you putting them center stage.
Well, what I want to know is...
let me finish.
All right. I'm fired up, baby.
By them being able to upset you and using my show, let me point out, for the second week in a row, to talk about all this, I mean, they winning. They got you all upset still after since the 20th over the same thing. I mean, you gotta let stuff go. It happened. We know what it is. You know that you're gonna try to maintain your relationship with Marty. So I mean, you gotta let you gotta let this go.
It was let go until these two assholes again.
There's no until.
All right.
See, that's the thing. It happened. Don't act like people ain't gonna talk about it.
No, I don't wear my sunglasses at night. If they're such great friends of Marty, why don't they take their fucking sunglasses off and try and get him some help? The help that he needs,
See, that's the thing. They're not great friends of Marty. That's the whole point.
Well, they're sure trying to present themselves that way.
That really ain't your business.
When they include my name in it, and when they include Boston Wrestling, it's our business.
No, it's not. People are going to include your name in bullshit until the day you die.
Well, you might be right.
You're gonna go out and swing at every battle presented across the street from where you at.
Well, you know what? You make a really great point about that. But I know in my heart and in my soul, I have tried to do right by Marty Jannetty. I don't understand why these two guys, every time, whether it be Tony, Marty, whatever, they're creating episodes with clickbait content, trying to make us look like the scum of the earth. Don't like it. Again, this was, I noted last week, the guy that hosted the show wanted the footage of Marty in that horrible condition, and I would not give it to him.
All right.
And I tell you this, let me finish this. No, let me finish this, Oscar. I'm on a roll, brother. To Marty's credit, Marty was hip to the blade, and Marty called them out on it. He goes, "Why did you want to try and do a hit piece on me with bad footage?" And they said, "Oh no, Marty, we cared about you. We just wanted to see what happened." Where so many fans contacted us about it, like so many fucking fans are contacted. I wear my sunglasses at night about what Marty Jannetty did on Father's Day Sunday during a Hell in a Cell watch along in Boston. Give me a break. I'm going to start wearing my sunglasses at night to feel like I fit in.
Wear your sunglasses in the studio. Matter of fact, go get them now.
All right, Oscar, it's your turn, and then we'll move on to other things happening in the King of Sports.
I am prepared to talk about something else. Anything else.
Anything else. All right, I like that. Do you have sunglasses on?
I put my sunglasses on.
You know, Oscar, before we went on the air, when we were texting earlier, you told me something pretty interesting. Can we share that with the fans, what you were doing today, or is that kind of no for now?
Nah, it's not confidential.
No, well, share it with the fans. I thought it was really cool.
No, in my Casanova Ace persona, I'm a political group that's very positive, and I have been working a year and a half on an album, and the album is full of peace, tranquility, unity. That's the whole idea behind it, which is something you need to hear.
I should have had you sing to me this afternoon.
Peace, tranquility, and unity. All the songs are geared toward that. They're very, very good, and it's amazing, and it's finished, and it's going to be on every platform because they got a distribution deal. And I ain't gonna get specific to this, but out the clear blue, they sent me an enormous, they sent me, an enormous gift the other day. And I'm real happy about. So
was it one of Reese's Pieces?
No, it's better than Reese's Pieces.
Real? Wow, this must have been pretty good then.
No, it is better than Reese's Pieces.
Can you disclose what the gift was?
I ain't gonna do
all right. That's fine.
Just a pretty big gift to show their appreciation.
Now, how many songs did you sing? Is it an entire album or is it just one song?
No, it's 14 songs.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you were a busy beaver.
Yeah.
You were a busy man down there. All right, that's cool.
It was a labor of love because, I did it through heart problems. I was having heart problems in the studio, a few times during sessions. And it really took God to get me through it, but I got through it. The album is finished. They going toward the finishing touches right now.
You literally put your heart and soul into it.
I put my heart and soul in it. There's going to be a big press conference about it.
Oh, wow.
In LA.
Wow. When do you have any idea when?
It's going to be sometime this summer.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah,
if it was close to the cauliflower time, maybe we could go out and tape it. I think that would be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge press conference this summer. It's going to be a big listening party where there actually going to be some celebrities in the house.
Really?
I'm excited about that. And then there's going to be some concerts coming up.
You're actually going to do live concerts to coincide with this album?
There's going to be some shows coming up to coincide the
Wow.
release of the album. And then after the album is released, and then, we'll see what happens.
Now, how long has this been in the works for? Now that you mention it, I do recall you maybe giving me a tidbit about it a while ago. But maybe it just slipped the mind with so much going on in our universe here in Boston Wrestling here at the studio. But how long has this been in the works for?
This fall, I want to say I've been on this project 2 years.
2 years. Wow. Okay, cool. And it's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about it. I love your music. Maybe we'll surprise the fans, Oscar, that maybe aren't longtime listeners, but what is the famous movie where you sing the end credits to?
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons.
Yeah.
So you're a man that has been around the block in the entertainment world. As we've noted many times, something we haven't really gone into great detail on it on the podcast because we have a bigger platform we're going to release, hopefully for the Cauliflower Alley Club, if you have a booth out there for that. But we'll talk more as we get closer to the great month of September, as we got so much going on here, folks. If you missed the little plug in the beginning of the show, we are creating Wrestle House 2 after everything we did WrestleMania week in Tampa. We're trying to do it all over again, and we need fan support to make it happen. Thanks to President Reese giving us the green light. Where the talk shows are kind of my baby as opposed to the live events, which is a lot of hands involved in it. But with the talk shows, between the great rewards and prizes we have for fans, live event experiences for them, advertising opportunities, it's a great way to keep Wrestling Insiders on the air. We certainly don't want to stop doing these talk shows. We have so much fun, but it's such a time-consuming proposition. This is a great way to do it. It's very difficult for me when I have to stop my rhythm and tape for a couple of days here at the studio. As is well documented, it's not a lie. I am here 7 days a week, usually 9 to 10 hours a day, up until I took those 2 days off to work remotely, as we mentioned that Southwest situation. 71 consecutive days, Oscar. I was a tired man, and I continue to be a tired man, but I am motivated to give these great fans the best in professional wrestling talk, and that's a great segue into our 20th anniversary live event Fanfest, Saturday night, November the 13th. Boston Wrestling MWF celebrates its 2 decades with Back to the 80s WrestleFest. John Cena Sr. announced already that with obviously life has changed an awful lot since the event was originally going to be. Road Warrior Animal has passed away. Paul Orndorff is in a state when he can't be with us. I think we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the program. Lanny Poffo has left the country. Tony Atlas stole the money like a thief in the night. And Brutus Beefcake is celebrating a birthday. So a lot of work had to be done, but John Cena Sr. announced that in addition to WWE Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts, the greatest tag team in WWF history, Axe and Smash Demolition, a newbie that wasn't with us originally, and what a great weekend to announce it, July 4th, a man that personifies Americana, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So what a great four to kick off the announcements for this big live event. And again, that doesn't even include the hot in-ring action, President. It's a great time to be a part of what's happening here. It seems like there's news breaking daily, which is why it sucks when we have a situation like what we opened the show with, when there's so many exciting, positive, new things going on.
Now, is John Cena Sr. going to introduce his new venture in November with some of those matches?
It certainly is not going to be November the 13th. Let me tell you that. Marty Jannetty talked about someone blocking the door. I will chain myself to the door of Memorial Hall before we have women's matches involved on our 20th anniversary event. It is not going to happen if I have any involvement in it. I will fight tooth and nail. I am not against John Cena Sr. Creating this platform on his own. If he wants to have these fabulous women of wrestling, trying to incorporate it into the hard work that we have put together over the past 20 years is something I don't agree with. And that's not, and I know a lot of fans think I am awfully down on the women. And you know what? I'm down on bad women's wrestling. Good women's wrestling, I have no issue with. Long before WWE main evented WrestleMania with women, long before they had their women's only pay-per-view, back in 2002, 19 years ago, we actually main evented a live event that had almost all male matches with Talia, who went on to become the exquisite Velvet Sky in TNA Impact, took on Mercedes Martinez, who is now on the WWE NXT brand. That main evented a live event we had in Wakefield, Massachusetts. So it's not to say that we dislike women's wrestling. That's not the case at all. We just like good, solid women's wrestling. So, John Cena Sr. is the type, he goes by the theory, go big or go home. He wants all women. And you know what? If that's the case, I think it needs to be separated from what we're trying to do. I know you and I were going to do an episode more about Boston Wrestling MWF Board of Directors meeting. Maybe we could tape that later in the week after we have a chance to, share notes before we go on the air. But based upon what we're discussing right now, do you agree or disagree with that thought process?
No, I disagree with the fact that if John Cena Sr. really wants to have it, he's going to have it. No matter what you say.
Well, but do you think he should? And do you think it should be kept separate if it happens?
I don't think. Moderation. If he wants to do one or two of those matches to introduce the brand, I don't see nothing wrong with that. I mean, he can't have a FFW takeover. Oh no, I wouldn't even let that happen. But to introduce the brand and let the fans know what's coming, because obviously he's going to do it, then there's nothing wrong with letting him do that.
John Cena Sr. has so many issues right now going on here in this organization with Cam Zagami and the Uprising faction, Dylan Cage down in North Carolina, and those bizarre videos that he put together pre-coronavirus that almost seemed like, I'd go as far as to say a dark cult. So Johnny's got some issues he's got to worry about beyond these women. I think him and Reese right now both have the same thing on the mind, but that's a different story for a different time. Again, I think it would be good if we actually did an episode, you and I, discussing a lot of the MWF happenings, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on. And even with these talk shows, this is a stressful time, but it also is a great opportunity to find a new Tuesday host. It's a great opportunity to bring the fans more content if they're willing to support it, which is why we created the Indiegogo campaign. Again, there's great autograph prizes fans can get their hands on. There are live experiences they can take part in, one-of-a-kind experiences. And there's also some really cool, reasonably priced advertising opportunities. So, you know what? No one is getting rich off of this proposition, believe me, but we certainly do need to pay the bills and keep the lights on. So we are going to try and light up Tampa all over again for the second time in 2021. I have a feeling it's going to be a little warmer in August than it was back in WrestleMania week, but hopefully we won't be blown away with the big storm they had down there in Tampa the week of WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I did a little research. I'm going to be, I don't know if I'll be moved yet, because I'm moving to Atlanta, for those that don't know. But I'm definitely going to be there at the end of the month for my brother-in-law's birthday party.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm just going to segue on an Amtrak and get into Tampa. I just took a look at hotel rooms, and they're really, really, really reasonable. So I'm all set to come.
Well, let me tell you, we're going to have a hell of a couple of days down there. It's not going to be as lengthy as WrestleMania week, but it's going to be a great chance to get a lot done. And then we can exhale for about 5 minutes, and then we come back to Boston and we prepare for the Back to the 80s live event. But the exciting thing is, Oscar, and we can't let too much out right now due to what President Reese stated at the meeting that we all had together. But, this is a great chance there may be live events long before November 13th. So there's a lot going on here, many reasons why I never have a day off. And even when I go home, after I eat and sit down and put on some lounge clothes for about 5-10 minutes, I fire the computer back up, and I'm already back to work, just in a different place, before going to bed to get up early and come back here to produce the great content for the greatest group of fans that I know, Oscar, and that is not the WWE Universe. There's a lot of them. I'm talking about the Boston Wrestling MWF fan community, those of you that have been with us and joined us over the past year, we love you to death, and it continues to grow, and it's a great thing, but we really need your support to make Wrestle House 2 a reality. Right now, I'm getting a cue from the back. We're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, Oscar and I are going to chew the fat in the world of professional wrestling. Stand by for more Monday Night Mission. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marati.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the momentum here in Boston wrestling continues as we continue to build and build and build. The fans want to know, how do we help? We subscribe to the Patreon, but we see all the great merchandise on that set. Coronavirus may have killed the nightlife, especially for someone like Marty, but our acclaimed eBay store is open 24/7 around the world.
Wow. Check it out.
Arguably the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Get this limited edition collector's autograph print, personally signed by two-time WWE Hall of Famer Nature Boy Ric Flair, inscribed 16 times for each of his recognized World Championship reigns. One of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Also signed by original artist Rob Schamberger. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome Ric Flair collectible for your wrestling collection now. Boston wrestling sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
WWE is coming home to Kansas City with Monday Night Raw. WWE is back with Monday Night Raw in Kansas City, Monday, July 26th. Tickets on sale now.
Wrestling fans, especially here in the Boston area, we want to thank our great friends at Red Rose for their support for all of our charitable endeavors and programming efforts. Red Rose is 2 years young and extremely thankful for all the support they've had from our neighbors here in Melrose and beyond for an amazing first 2 years. Red Rose thanks Melrose and all of the first responders who have fought the good fight and have never given up hope during these unprecedented times. We did it together. Follow Red Rose on Facebook for their anniversary special, facebook.com/Red Rose Melrose. You'll be glad you did. Open until 2 a.m. Red Rose will give you fresh, piping hot, mouth-watering food that'll put an ear-to-ear smile on even the toughest critic's face. Check out their full menu online at redrosema.com or give them a call, 781-620-1889. All right, we are back. Jack Sy down at Red Rose and Melrose has always got this man hungry. If you are in the greater Boston area, trust me, you're going to want to check this out. He's a great guy, great friend, great supporter of the show and our charity endeavors. Over the past couple of months, as you know, we did a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish. It was great to send some money to them to try and help the kids out, some of whom that have been waiting over a year to have their wishes granted. One thing we didn't publicize on the shows, but we were also able to send a nice donation to the Wounded Warrior Project, which helps out the veterans. So, you know what? You guys helping out with what we do, we're putting some goodwill into the world, and I know we're going to do a heck of a lot more of it before the end of 2021. I know the charity work we've done here over the past 20 years is very important to me, and I know as Vice President, it's also very important to you.
Well, yeah. I mean, no, the Make-A-Wish is, near and dear to my heart. I love this work that John Cena Jr. has done with it. I mean, he's one of their biggest supporters, if not the biggest. A whole bunch of stars and celebrities and things that have been done to make these kids whose future seems bleak, but they have that bucket list they have, and when they get it, it makes them forget all about their problems. So just give them that happiness. And there's nothing more exciting than that. I mean, there's nothing more altruistic. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, we have of course, the what'll now be the 10th Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive later this year, and we have some other initiatives that we're going to discuss this fall. And now is not the time to get into that, but you talk about things looking bleak, Oscar. Let's talk about a man that was originally slated to be a part of our Back to the 80s WrestleFest endeavor, a man that joined us in studio, a man I consider a friend, a man I consider a man's man, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Did you have a chance to see that video that was posted on YouTube of him?
No, I couldn't look at it, but I
You heard about it.
I did hear about it, and I'm just saddened by it. I hope that his faculties come back. I hope that I hope that he gets better, because it's just far too many of us that have died. I mean, they actually do news stories on major news outlets about us, and they're not flattering.
No.
They do stories about how we die more than any other sports figures, in the whole sports and entertainment realm.
Yeah.
About how we don't last. And it was just so depressing. And not only was it depressing, it was scary. I mean, you got to look at your own mortality, especially when you have heart issues and medical problems. I mean, it make you drop down on your knees right there and be like, God, don't take me yet. But the good news is I've lived to see, 58 years
58?
on this point. Yeah, I'm 58
You're
years
not
old.
that old.
Yeah.
I don't believe it for a second.
Nah, happily I am.
Well, then again, I don't believe I'm 40, so there you go. As Linda Moratti says, I'm the world's oldest 12-year-old, so take that for what it's worth, I guess. But, yeah, it's sad, but you know what? There is maybe a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. A photo surfaced for the 4th of July, and apparently Paul is out of the hospital. He is being taken care of at home by his son. There's a nice photo of him now with a haircut, no more mustache,
Good,
and Paul's drinking a cold one. Paul's drinking a cold one.
Praise God for that. So yeah, so that's just that. That's good. I tell people, God can do anything. When people saw him in the state that he was in, I know a lot of people wrote him off.
It was. Let me tell you, it was
a downward spiral towards the end. But when you drinking a cold one and you get a haircut, then that means that you do it a whole lot better.
Yeah,
I'm just thankful for that.
He's not in a hospital gown. He's in a T-shirt, and it looks like maybe a pair of sweatpants or something like that. And he looked like he enjoyed in whatever mental capacity he may be in right now. At least it looked like he was enjoying the day a little bit, and he looked much healthier. And it was good that he's home instead of being in the hospital.
That's great. Speaking of enjoying a day, switching gears, what'd you do yesterday?
I was here working.
Oh, okay.
I was here producing great content for all of our great fans, I was only here for 9.5 hours. I kind of took it easy. I took the easy way out. We produced our Sunday night talk show, Wrestling Insiders, Stern but Fair, with the former and the first Boston Wrestling MWF Heavyweight Champion Tiger Mulligan, which premieres each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on non-pay-per-view weekends. And then we had those big announcements about the November 13th event and the Wrestle House in Tampa. And so there's never a slow day around this place. Every time I think I have a minute to catch up, there's some kind of a bomb dropping or something unexpected good, sometimes even in a positive way, comes our way, and we have to hit the pause button on everything planned for that day. But I'd love to be able to get a week or two ahead, you know what I mean? Especially where with Marty we tape multiple episodes at a time. With Cena Senior, we usually tape at least 2 or 3 when he comes to town. Right now with Tuesday, we're doing those retro episodes with Tony Atlas. On the Wednesday.
Wait, come to town. Wait, slow down a second. Cena don't live in Boston no more?
Well, he does, but he's a world traveler.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes he flies in on the private jet and then he takes a helicopter and it lands on the roof of the studio.
Now, did you get any barbecue?
No, and I am a man that loves, a nice cheeseburger or a steak or some chicken on the grill. I had nothing. Nothing. You want to know what my lunch consisted of for the 4th of July, Oscar? I had a peanut butter sandwich, carrots, and a devil dog. That is my reality. As I slave away here, still at this miniature little table, as I wait for them to give me the new desk and the new computer that they promised, I'm at this dwarf-sized table that has the podcast station, 2 computer monitors, the computer itself, 3 hard drives, 2 big giant extension cords, my phone charger, 2 microphones, my bottle of water, a bottle of, I don't know what that is, some kind of Gatorade-like drink, my mouse, paperwork. It's just all on this one little tiny table. Maybe I'm getting used to it. I don't know, but it drives me nuts.
Well, on the plus side, you can't damn you for eating healthy, even though the temptations was out there.
Well, you know what? No one invited me either. So, I guess that maybe if I was invited, I would have snuck out even earlier. But
well, they didn't invite you because they thought you were going to come to their house and talk about the Marty Jannetty situation.
Either that or they knew. They say, you know what? If the guy was at that studio on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, he's not leaving for the 4th of July, and they may have been right.
Yeah, no. So
I hope someday when my time comes and the fans and people that I know look back at my body of work, if nothing else, they can say, you know what? That damn guy tried awfully hard to produce a hell of a lot of good content for us. He did a lot to try and keep the wrestling legends working. And that would mean a lot to me.
Yeah, no, we can't say nothing opposite of that. I mean, you're gonna have about 20 people that want to eulogize your funeral. I'll be one of them.
I'll be lucky to have 20 people show up. Never mind eulogize.
Oh, nah, it's gonna be there. Your funeral gonna be crowded.
Well, I have a feeling I'll be there in spirit, but that's just my faith. But anyway, I know Baby Marati, he had a nice time. He saw the fireworks out at Six Flags, so I was glad that they at least got to have a nice day. It's just everybody but me. That's all. But
you didn't. Why you didn't go to Six Flags with your kids?
They didn't invite me.
They didn't invite you?
They didn't invite me. They figured I had enough last week when we had a 3-night excursion. When the day we left, I was at the studio, and the day we came back, I came to the studio. I had 2 days away after 71 consecutive. I'm going to wind up in the home like Paul Orndorff was at this rate.
Backtrack a little bit. You went to Orlando, right?
No, we never made it to Orlando. That's where the
that's right. That's right. You went to New Hampshire.
We wound up in the White Mountains.
You wound up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Speaking of, unfortunately, another great segue to a passing. We lost a man, big-time superstar in All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Patriot.
Had a stint in WCW where he held tag team championship gold that he traded back and forth against Paul Orndorff and Paul Roma back in '94, and again he had an Attitude Era stint in WWF. The Patriot Del Wilkes.
Yeah, the Patriot Del Wilkes. See, that's
I
just what I
believe he was your age.
That's just not what I was just not talking about. I don't know what the answer is, but you know, we just gotta take better care of ourselves, and I don't just mean eating right and exercising. I mean, that's why I was telling you what I was telling you at the beginning of the show to drop that whole situation because we gotta have positive thoughts. We can't have things that constantly upset us and make us mad because stress is the number one killer of it all.
Then I'm lucky I'm still here at this point.
Yeah, stress is the number one killer of it all. Stress will take you out faster than anything else. Because stress segue to brain aneurysms and heart attacks and VTAC episodes and and all kinds of bad things. That's why the answer is you have to that's why the answer is you gotta stay as stress free as you possibly can. Now I don't know what Del Wilkes' situation was. I don't know, I don't know his life or nothing like that. But what I am saying is, if I look at the trend of a lot of my brothers and sisters in the business that have fallen, I do know that they were under stressful conditions, be it directly from the business, being directly under working at the business at the time, and then worried about the aftermath of their life. Once the business say, screw you. That's what my program, one of the equilibrium was about really to have a program where you showing people how to relieve some of that stress. How to focus your energy in positive directions so that you even want to be around for the next 30 or 40 years. And that's another problem. That's another problem that we even got. Once wrestling is over for us, we don't know what we're going to do.
Right.
So our
fear comes into play.
Fear comes into play. So our wanting to, live diminishes exponentially. And then when that happens, when people feel like they don't have nothing to live for, and this is an old man, told me this a long time ago. When people don't feel like they don't have nothing to live for, death will come creeping at your door faster than a jackrabbit in a cornfield.
Well, it's an interesting phrase, I guess. I've never heard that one before, but I agree with it. I agree with it. I think, once you stop being an active person, I think it really does more to the mind than we, as us just being average people, even realize. Maybe even more than doctors. There's so much that's in the universe that's unknown that we certainly can't explain, despite how smart certain doctors and scientists may be. I mean, I'm not going to get into a conversation about the philosophy of life, but, there's a lot that we don't understand as we sit here chatting back and forth. So, I tend to agree with you. I think once people lose their purpose or lose their people, I mean, look at how many folks you see, an older spouse dies and then, they're all alone and, the second spouse goes not too long after the fact.
Right. That's the one thing, and I didn't understand that. I thought he was being an asshole, but that's the one thing my cardiologist tells me every time I see him. Lose weight, but besides losing weight, losing weight is the number one thing he said. You're too fat, lose weight. I mean, basically, but he's like, be active. Get active, do things. Don't just sit around. Get active and do things. And he's saying that to say being active is going to help, number one, help get your heart going. But even more than that, being active is going to give you that extra oomph to want to live and do stuff and doing that. So, I mean, yeah, you cannot sink into it because I was in a depression and I'm gonna tell you this and share this with the whole MWF universe.
All right.
A few years ago, I was in a depression. I mean, a really, really bad one. I mean, it was bad. I almost lost my marriage because of it, and I didn't nothing to do. I had nothing to do, and I didn't have no reason to want to do nothing. I mean, I was never gonna commit suicide or nothing like that. But at the same time, I wasn't doing nothing to fortify living.
Mm-hmm.
Fortify my life. So, so that was bad, and I had to snap out of it.
And how did you snap out of it? David Reese?
I don't know how I snapped out of it, to be honest, but I did snap out of it, and I'm happy. I'm happy I did. I mean, I have much more of a zen for life now. Um, and I feel a whole lot better, and it feels really, really, really good.
Well, good. We need you around. Hopefully retirement isn't in your thought process anytime soon as we continue to try and build the biggest, best, baddest Boston Wrestling MWF possible. I know we continue, much like Tony, sometimes it's a slow process when you kick off a podcast to grow the crowd, but you know what? It's been shown that it can be done. More and more fans come to enjoy your stories and the old classics and so on. And, again, your insight where you live the life, you're not just someone that watched it on television and observed, you live the life of a full-time professional wrestling superstar. You have a lot to offer the next generation, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I really don't mind doing that. But you know what? I was talking about this with my wife last night. You could offer the next generation the diamonds and jewels and gems of knowledge for the ages.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem that we face now, and not just in wrestling, in entertainment and probably in business at large, I can't speak for them because I'm not out there. But for some reason, this generation is so they so egotistical and narcissistic. They act like they could teach you.
Hmm.
They act like they really, really act like I was gonna make it whether you made it or not. You didn't have to trailblaze the trail for me. I was gonna get here anyway.
Hmm.
I don't need your advice. I already know everything.
Well, it's unfortunate if that's the response that you've received when trying to offer insight to the younger talents.
I've had some of the younger talents just blow me off like I was a damn fan.
Wow.
Which, to be totally frank with you, they shouldn't treat the fans like that anyway.
Exactly.
It really. I'll give you a good example of what I'm talking about. This is what I saw with my own two eyes when we were in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it up close because, when I go for WrestleMania week just to hang out, I take it upon myself to stay at the WWE hotel at least for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
That's that Saturday and that Sunday. Because before that, I'll stay at the WrestleCon hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Because, all right, when I stayed at the WWE hotel, and I'm not going to mention no names because I'm not going to put nobody on Front Street, it almost made me cry to see how the not all of them, not all. I'm not gonna say all of them, but a nice enough size handful of them treated the fans.
Mm-hmm.
The fans would be yelling and screaming, and and they would have like they would have like a barricade, you know, to keep the fans away from getting into the hotel. The hotels are really secure. If you don't have a key or a WWE credentials or whatever, you can't even get in the lobby. And that's fine, that's understandable. But when the fans are out there calling your name and all that, take a minute, go out, go over there, sign 5 or 6 autographs. There's a lot of them there's a good size of them that will not bother. I seen one guy who was the most famous talent of the most famous talent of the territory. I mean, he got out the SUV and didn't even look over at the people. I looked at him and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! You're not even gonna look and acknowledge or smile and wave at the people,
Even a hello.
even a hello. He didn't even look over there." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!" And then the situation in the hotel was worse because you had a lot of fans that was in there that paid $500-$600 a night to stay at the hotel, and they would just walk by the people and wouldn't even acknowledge the people up close, walk by them, go to the elevator, and then and go upstairs. But here was the kicker: your Bret Harts, your Undertakers, all
Legends.
your legends would do just the opposite. And I'm like, stop, look, listen, learn from the best, learn from the legends. Look at how they handle the fans, and look at how you handle the fans.
Exactly. I agree with you on that 110%. As we've noted many times here, I can't speak for any WWE talent that may love to engage with the fans or may hate to engage with the fans, but without professional wrestling fans, we don't have professional wrestling, and we should always try and keep that in mind.
And they do not seem to understand that or even believe it.
I think that's disappointing. I think, I hate to. Well, you know what? Sometimes I speak too much, but I think WWE, it's something they should address at the Performance Center early on. The fan base is the lifeblood of what we do.
Not even at the Performance Center. It's something that they should address in a meeting, or even, if one of the agents or senior staff see it, that's something they should pull them aside and address right then and there. Because to what you just said, without the fans, we don't have anything.
Nothing. If we don't have fans come out and support us on November 13th, it's going to be an awfully quiet night at Memorial Hall. That's for sure. You got to give the fans TLC. You got to recognize that in the end, no matter what the wrestling promoter or booker may think, they can be in charge of what's being presented. But if the fans don't come out and support it, it means absolutely nothing.
And you would think that is common sense among everybody, but like the old saying go, a lot of times common sense is not common. I mean, for me, it was just in my heart when I was coming up in the 90s to do it as much as I could do it. You can't go out and sign 30,000 autographs, obviously.
No.
But if a fan is in a hotel or they stop you outside, or like the story with Luke Gallows got inspired by that little kid that I stopped my phone conversation and said hello and signed an autograph for him. He never forgot that.
Wow. Well, it just shows sometimes even the smallest moments can create, a lifelong impression.
The smallest moments, because oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it,
You're
I
on.
was
You
talking
sound
about,
like me at the beginning of the show. What's up?
I was talking about the entertainment business at large.
Mm-hmm.
Your rappers, a lot of them are worse than damn wrestlers. And guess what? I'm talking about rappers that they haven't even made it yet. We would have music. We would have music conventions where you would have a lot of wannabes, and they don't talk to nobody. They have an arrogance about them that you would not believe. And there is something that I tell young cats, and I've been telling them this in the rap industry, in the music industry, my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do that for one simple reason, and I learned this a long time ago. You never know who the hell you talking to.
Right. That's a great point too. I mean, it could be the son of some major executive or something like that, and they're gonna
No,
go,
but no, not the son. It could be that executive, because you don't know who the hell those executives look like.
All right, fair enough.
You don't know who they are. I'll give you an example.
All right.
There's a guy named Grandmaster Flash,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him how much it was for him to do a show, and he said, "My manager's name is," and I never forget this ever. "My manager's name is Norby Walters. That's who you have to call."
Oh, your good friend Norby.
That's the first time I heard his name.
Oh, okay.
When I met Norby Walters, I thought I would through the years whenever I heard the name Norby, I thought he was black. I meet a Jewish guy 15 years later at the music convention, and I'm talking to him and rapping for him and all that other kind of stuff like that. And that's when he told me that he was Norby Walters. I almost swallowed my tongue. And from that day to this one, Norby has been my manager and my mentor my whole life since the year of 1989.
Wow. It's a long relationship.
Now, had I walked by and been like, "Oh, he Jewish, he ain't no damn body," my life would be in a different direction. It's because of Norby Walters that it all happened. It's because of Norby Walters that I was at this because of Norby Walters that I was in Las Vegas that fateful day and met Vince.
And ultimately, if it wasn't for Norby, we would have never met, because if you never met Vince, you would have never got involved in wrestling.
Right. If you look at the whole chain,
Yep.
we never would have met, because my career would have went in a whole different direction.
Right.
To a mediocre rap star, big rap star, or nothing.
Well, it's interesting how what's that game called? The Seven Shades of Kevin Bacon. But if it wasn't for Norby, David Reese, you probably would have never met the president of this fine organization and all the interesting characters you've come across over the past, my gosh, 28 years now.
Before I got in the entertainment business, to feed my family, I was a security guard. So I would have gotten the security guard business, and that's probably what I would still be doing today. To tell you everything about security, entertainment business, no, that's not for me.
Well, unbelievable, Oscar. Before we go, any final thoughts, memories of Del Wilkes? I know your careers really didn't cross paths, but did you come across him at conventions and things such as that?
I came across him about 5 years ago in Charlotte for the first time, at the Mid South wrestling convention.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I met Del Wilkes, the Patriot. Really nice guy. We talked for a few minutes and that. But as far as, let me tell you, that you would be surprised. There are a few people that I did not come across during my wrestling career. One of The Rock, John Cena, um, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who I met at the first time. I actually met last year in New Orleans. Not last year, year before last, in New Orleans. And yeah, there are quite a few notables that I know who they are. And then come to find out they know who I am. I'm like, really? Wow.
Well, you're a man on a mission, brother.
But I will tell you, because this is no secret,
All right.
I will tell you one sad fact that I just found out. I looked on Facebook and they had a list of the 50th greatest tag teams of all time.
Oh, I know where you're going with this one. Okay.
Men on a Mission not mentioned nowhere. I almost wanted to cry.
Do you think they belonged in the top 50?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I'd need to look at the list. Now you've got me curious.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the top 50. Come on.
That might make an interesting topic for the show.
Yeah, it might. I'm not sure how game I am to really talk about it.
Oh, you're that upset?
It's really hurtful.
Wow.
It was really hurtful. I mean, I really want to know. I really want to know, and I really want to know if we've been blackballed for some reason. And I can't think of nothing I ever did to upset anybody.
Well, I know there were issues with Mabel's widow after he passed. I don't know if that would have anything to do with it.
Yeah, no, yeah. That could have a lot to do with it, because I have actually spoken to Triple H about that situation over the past few years. You know, and I told him, do not get involved with that situation.
You warned him.
I warned him because I know her. I know how she is, and I know the grief and pain, and I know that she's not a nice person. I know that, I'm trying to say something, but I'm trying not to say it really public. Nah, hell with it. It's true.
Shoot, brother.
She didn't really love him. She didn't love him when he was alive.
Now, why do you say that she didn't love him?
Because of the jacked up things she did. I mean,
what would she do?
She was a jacked up individual.
What do you mean, jacked up?
When I say jacked up, I'll give you the example. But this happened after he was dead. She got high and dropped his ashes all over the garage, for one thing.
Oh.
Somebody told me he went to buy his boots, and the dog had one of his boots in his mouth, walking around with it. Yeah. Oh, and my favorite story, my favorite. How could I forget this? We had a funeral that I drove all the way from Indiana to what was it, Memphis? To Memphis to be at. And Lawler's son, the one that died, Brian Christopher, he told me, he said, Oscar, why is she asking me, do I know any other wrestlers that I could hook her up with? At the funeral.
At the funeral?
At the funeral.
Oh, my God. Well, as we noted on that three-way podcast we did with Marty, I have to be fair and say I was not the man's biggest fan, but from the business we did with him, but I think he deserved a better fate than to have his widow looking to hook up with wrestlers at his services.
Yeah,
Did she ever offer her services to you?
Nah, you know what? I wasn't in her presence that much for it to even go there. And when I seen her, well, I saw her 2 times. When I saw her the first time, Nelson was with her. So, and then when at the funeral, my wife was with me.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right. Well, that wasn't
so
going to happen. Then.
so she couldn't.
Maybe Mo. I don't know.
She couldn't get the chance to do nothing like that.
I know she caused a lot of grief for WWE for a period of time, and to WWE's credit, they, from what I know, extended some help to her.
They did. They gave her $10,000.
All right, well, there you go.
And I told them that was a big mistake because I told them, give a mouse a cookie, he gonna want a glass of milk. So if they thought it was gonna stop there, once they opened that door, they was dreaming.
They're going to think there's more and more. But what the residual checks are like with WWE. You know how long it would take for them to make back that $10,000?
Yeah, no,
exactly. A long time. They have made a couple of action figures of him, so maybe WWE recouped the advance on his residuals that way. I don't know. But you know what I thought was disappointing, Oscar? During Marty Gate, when I continued to have my conversations with them, they weren't even aware that Del Wilkes had passed away.
Oh, really?
I was really surprised by that. Yeah, I don't know if they just didn't have communication, if no one from the Wilkes family reached out to them. That's why their announcement that he had passed was a little bit delayed compared to what you'd usually see. But I was glad that someone told them. But what are you going to do?
They don't have, I'm going to tell you why. They don't have a strong pipeline from former talent goings on straight into their bloodstream. Mm-hmm. They got to hear about stuff the same way me and you hear about it.
Well, I was glad I could at least pass the information along so they could do, a social media posting. I don't know if it appeared on one of the television shows, at least as of yet.
Well, I would hope, I would imagine it would. It should.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it don't, but it really, really should tonight.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We're taping this episode before Raw airs, so we don't have the answers to that question yet, fans. But, Oscar, as we run out of time on this yet again very engaging episodes, any final thoughts on the week at large? And what is to come in the next week?
I know what's not to come. We're not going back in the Marty Gate next week.
All right.
So
you think we're going to get the cash from Tony back this week?
No. You can forget it.
I was kind of being funny with that one.
Yeah, you can forget it. Tony ain't even got the cash to give you.
But like you said, hopefully, we can move on from what happened on June 20th. Hopefully.
Hopefully. You are not going to spend another 5 minutes on my show talking about that, because as far as I'm concerned, it's over.
All right. Well, I will.
The only thing I want to hear, I walk back. Only thing I want to hear is Marty that got some help. Now, you want to talk about that, then we can spend an hour talking about that. Anything other than that, no.
That would be a great story to tell. And again, I continue to hope that happens. I spent a lot of time trying to set up avenues for him to use beyond WWE's rehab program. And just unfortunately, he's a stubborn guy. He feels that once his ankles heal up, he's going to be good and ready to go. And I don't know, knowing his history, I worry. And I say that because I care, not because I'm trying to put him down. I want to stress that because there's a lot of people that think I'm out to bash him, and I'm not out to bash him. I'm very mad at the situation. I am not mad at the human being. I know the human being, was in so much pain. He didn't know what he was doing, and he made some bad adult choices.
All right.
And we'll leave it at that.
And with that, that's it.
All right, fans, again, check out the Indiegogo campaign. The link is in the description box below. Help us bring Wrestle House 2 to life. WrestleMania week, we brought you 7, what was supposed to be 9 superstars. We have merchandise rewards for you. We have live experiences, I should say, available to you if you want to participate. If you want to advertise on these great talk shows, this is the best way to do it, because we are going to try and line up a plethora of superstars for another great week down in the Sunshine State. It's going to be hot. I'm going to pack very, very, very light. Hopefully, I won't have a repeat with the Southwest luggage. That's a different story for last week's episode. But for my partner in crime, Oscar, I am Dan Marotti. The announcements are coming. Jim Duggan, Jake Roberts, Demolition, and so many more are coming to Boston Wrestling MWF's Back to the 80s, Saturday night, November the 13th, Memorial Hall, Melrose, Massachusetts. Why don't you join them? We're going to have a heck of a lot of fun. Ticket information is coming soon, fans. For my partner in crime, Oscar, I am Dan Marotti. Until we speak again, folks, you and yours be well. More important, stay healthy. We love you. Good night. The World Wrestling Federation was live at Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa, Friday, July the 5th, 1991. In the opening contest, the Berserker beat Jim Powers. British Bulldog with the win over Typhoon, who replaced Intercontinental Champion Mr. Perfect via countout. The Bushwhackers defeated Paul Romer in the Brooklyn Brawler, who replaced Hercules. Jake the Snake Roberts with Andre the Giant, victorious over Earthquake. The Dragon beat Colonel Mustafa. The Warlord with the win over Jim Brunzell, who replaced the Texas Tornado. And in the main event, the Ultimate Warrior defeated The Undertaker via disqualification. If you were in Des Moines live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service, so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times